Test 1, 2, test 1, 2. Dit werkt. Als het goed is, zijn we live, mensen. En dat betekent... Yeah, the stream is live. Which means that now it's possible to see the stream and maybe even to have the live chat here. Although I see that the live chat is not yet working. And I don't know why. So I'm busy connecting everything to the stream, and at this moment there are no viewers, I think, so I am I'm now making the stream work if possible. I have to connect my chat fenster with the stream. How to. Here's the live chat screen. And it now should be connected. Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing? Seeing on your name, I think you got a Ford F100. That's a nice car. I'm busy installing the stream software so that I can have the live chat on my screen, but for some reason I'm not connecting it. I don't know why, though. Which is funny. Well, if it doesn't work, then we go to this screen and we can all see the stream in a separate fenster. So that's no problem at all. I see that there is a keyframe problem. I doubt that I don't know what that problem is. But for you viewers, this video is just a random live stream in which I would like to see if there are questions for or laser engraving or 3D printing, and maybe I can answer some questions of you. And also, let's talk about general 3D printing. What's new, what's coming up, etc., that kind of thing. So I want to make it an interactive thing and not only me talking, but you also doing things on the chat, etc. So I think that's nice. So let's do that. And in the meanwhile, I am trying to get the live chat in the screen, but for some reason it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Studio YouTube. This is the pop-up fenster for the chat, which has to be copied to my live chat interface. Hey Anton, how you doing? What's a good laser to start off? Well, I've got a few videos about that. I think personally, and I go to the other screen, so I think personally that the Orter or Nadia machines are pretty good machines to start with. They got 7 watt versions, they got 15 watt versions and 20 watt versions. And it's a little bit depending on what you want to do, which version should for you be the best version. If you're more like engraving things, like engraving photographs on wood or on other objects, then you're better off with a 7-watt version. And if you're more into like for example cutting things, I've been cutting very recently, don't know where it is right now. I've been cutting very recently, and then the 20-watt or the 15-watt versions are the best machines. Now you have them in small frames, and there are also some bigger frames. Maybe I can show you this over here. This is a bigger frame machine, which you can see over here. So this is the Order Master 2, and well, that's a machine that's fairly big, and I see you do laser engraving on tiles. Then maybe another machine is a little bit better. You also got the smaller orders, the Master 1, which is also for the Najays. Najay does also have a master machine. And those machines are very capable of doing engravings, for example, on tiles. And you can do that with 7-watt versions. The lower the wattage, not completely true, but the 7-watt versions, they do have more grayscales. So you are more able to do grayscales in your black-white images that you are going to produce. And if you got more power, then the steps between the highest and lowest power that you can use for engraving are further away from each other, and therefore there are less grayscales, and yeah, that's something to think about. So for cutting, the more powerful machines are better. And at this moment, there are some 30 and 40 watt lasers that are actually on hand now. People can buy them. So the more watts, the more capable of cutting things. But for engraving, less power is most often a better choice. So yeah, I tend to look at the lower power machines for engraving. I've got one over here. I will grab it for you. Just a small moment. I've got it here. Here I got a small Najay laser cutter. Sorry, this is also an order. I also got the exact same thing from Najay. This one is with a rotary engraver. And maybe I should give you guys a top view of this machine. So yeah, it's more visible for you. This machine has a rotary style roller, which is a separate thing to buy, and with that you can, for example, have these type of thermo canisters, and you can put it on top of it and then let it rotate and engrave on it. And it's got an arm with the X and the Y gantry, and the possibility to engrave things. So yeah, that's something you can do with this machine. It's got a smaller surface, but yeah, you can do a lot with it, and it's smaller than the bigger frame machines, like I've got, where is it? Like I got over here. This is a big frame machine, and this is the small frame machine. But yeah, with the big frame machines you can also do almost everything. So I like the room better. So here's the room. With the bigger frame machines you can do more, and therefore I like to give a little bit more money to the bigger frame machines. They're not that expensive. The price difference is very low. Therefore, I like the bigger frame machines more than the smaller frame machines. Then, hi Scott, how you doing? You ask if the Master 2 will be able to cut acrylic. Yes, it is. 3mm acrylic is cuttable, but not every type of acrylic, not every color of acrylic. For example, the very translucent acrylic, you can't cut it. The green acrylic is almost impossible to cut, while the dark blue or dark red acrylic is very easy to cut. And this is all because of the wavelength of the laser. It has to heat up the acrylic, and with for example, the green acrylic, you can't cut it. You can't go through it, and especially the translucent acrylics, well, almost impossible to go through. On the other hand, when working with the darker blue, the black acrylic, the dark red acrylics, it's very easy to cut, and especially the 3mm works great. So maybe let's go to laser Q&As. I got these screens made up. Very nice. Can it cut black acrylic? And can I coat any other acrylic with paint to cut it? Well, good question. No, you can't paint any other acrylic to cut it. You can, however, use that paint to engrave it. So, for example, when I cut translucent acrylic, then it's not possible to engrave it. Now, when I use nail polish, which somewhere on my desk I must have a bottle of nail polish. With black nail polish, I can paint it. Then I'm able to engrave it, and then later on wash the nail polish off. And then I can make a deep engraving in it, but I can't cut it. I will go about, in maximum 0.5 mm deep. So I'm not able to cut it, but I can make an engraving on it. The same goes for glass. It's very difficult to engrave on glass. I made a video about it, in which I used this rotary style roller. And I put a glass on it. That's very difficult, and you have to go very slow. While if you paint it black, then you will be able to go faster and to engrave the glass. So yeah, that is very nice to do. You can, with black acrylic, you can cut it very easy. Black acrylic 3mm. It's with the 15-watt laser I can cut it, and with the 20-watt laser I can cut it even faster. By the way, I use the power settings that are mentioned by the manufacturers, and this isn't the power setting that you really use. They call it 7-watt, 15-watt and 20-watt lasers, while actually you use only 1/4 about that of that power as light output. So a 20-watt laser is in fact only a 6-watt laser, that's approximately 6 watt, while the rest of the power is being consumed by heat, by powering up the machine, the motors, etc, etc. So it consumes 20 watts, while in fact the laser beam is only 6 watt. And the same goes for the 7-watt laser, which is about 1.5 or 2 watts, something like that. What lasers am I using? Well, I'm using mostly Orter lasers. I also got a NAJ Master, but mostly Orter lasers. And I also got this thing over here, the Alpha Wise. And although this is a very low power device, it's very nice because of another reason, and this can work on a battery. So I can use any USB type battery pack and then put it somewhere and just use it. And that's very nice of this machine. And therefore I can use it on the street to engrave things and use my mobile phone as a device to send the image to the thing. Scott says, your help is brilliant, thank you. Oh, well, thank you very much. Can it cut mirrored acrylic? Difficult. The thing is that when the laser light reflects from the surface, it's very difficult to cut it. So white things are very difficult to cut because they reflect very well. While something that is black is very easy to cut because, well, you get in it very easy. All the heat is dissipated in the material. And therefore it's very easy to cut. Now also the wavelength is very important, and so for example dark red or dark green materials are very easy to penetrate with the laser light and therefore to cut them, while a dark blue is very difficult, sorry, a dark green is very difficult, while blue and red are easy. But dark green, that's also the color of the glasses. And well, it's very difficult to get through. So yeah, that's mirror things are difficult to engrave. Most of the times when you're lasering mirror things, then the surface that is making it reflect, the mirror surface, is very, very thin. So if you spray that, for example, with a spray paint that you can very easily clean off again, then that can just be enough to make that surface non-reflective and make it black, for example. Therefore, all the power of your laser is dissipated in that paint and cuts away the paint, but also the material under the paint. And this is the reflective surface. And then you get through that reflective surface, and then the material underneath it, yeah, that it's depending on what color that is, but that will be penetrated by the laser light. So therefore mirrors can be cut if you can spray paint the reflective surface of that mirror, and only if that is a very thin reflective surface. Is it worth modding the machine to add an air assist? Oh yes, it is. This is my air assist pump, and I will see if I can get the other camera, this one, to film that. And this one is the zoom, which has to go, sorry for the mess here, which has to go over here. And then you can see that over here I got an air assist unit. It's a 3D printed air assist unit that I made myself, and it works, oh, get the house back, it works very, very well. It's an air assist that is made for the 15 watt versions of the Order. On Thingiverse there is a remake of this that I made for the 20 watt versions, and yes, this works very, very well. On my website, by the way, you can download this for the 15 watt Order lasers. Am I a 3D printing engineer? Not really. I do now have a 3D printing company, but it's not my full-time job. I am a salesman in photo cameras and video gear, therefore I do have a lot of video gear at hand. But I'm a 3D printing and laser engraving enthusiast. Now I'm making much more 3D prints and much more laser engravings than I was in the past. And this is all because yeah, I've I have a lot of machines. In this room I've got 2 printers and 3 laser cutters. In another room I've got about 20 printers, something like that. And there is also a CNC engraver coming this way. And I do design things myself. I work a lot in Fusion 360 to design things, yeah, just because I like it. It's fun to do. Not really commercial, but I like it. It's my hobby. I'm wanting to start looking for a laser cutter for engraving wood, leather, and possibly cutting leather. At which levels of wattage should I look? For cutting the leather, it would be best to take a look at the 15 or 20 watt lasers. With my lasers I'm very capable of cutting. So I can cut leather, I can cut the fake leathers, but you have to be very careful with that, because the fumes that come off the fake leathers can be very poisonous. But normal leather, it's very easy to do. And up to 4 millimeters, it's easy to cut leather with a 15 watt laser machine. However, if you want to engrave it, then a lower wattage is better. So if you want to engrave leather with a 15 watt machine, it's possible, but the engraving, if you want to make a black and white picture on it, for example, then the engraving will be nicer if you do that with a 7 watt machine. So the lower the wattage, the better it gets. Also, it makes a big difference if you have a machine which has an 8-bit board or a 32-bit board. This is the reason why I don't like the the Nature Master machines. Hey, something happened. Something happened. Looks like I'm not live anymore. Am I still live? I dropped to 0 viewers. That's strange. That's strange. What happened? If I'm still visible, then something happened and I don't know what happened. If it's not visible anymore, yeah, it's visible. Strange. Well, in my screen, the stream dropped, but I can see the stream is here. I have to get this back. Great, thanks. I can see I'm live now. Thank you very much. No, the thing is that if you got a 7 watt laser, and let's talk round numbers, then it's easier to understand. If I got a 10 watt laser, imagine that the laser would be a 10 watt laser, and the motherboard controlling it is able to cut this 10 watts into 10 pieces, 10 degrees of light levels, output levels. Then every output, every step in that output would be 1 watt. So I can make a grayscale image of 10 different grayscales, which is not completely true, because 0 watt is no image, and it's even worse than that, because up to 5 watt, for example, would be no image, and after 5 watts you would really burn the material and start to see the image. So then only from 5 to 10 watts, so only 5 steps, would be the visible steps. Now imagine you got a better computer that is capable of using 100 steps instead of 10 steps. And therefore being able to make from step 50 to step 100 the visible steps. Then there would be 50 grayscales that you can engrave on the material. This is the difference between an 8-bit board and a 32-bit board. And the Nature machines, not the newer machine, because the newer Natures are also 32-bit, but the Nature that I on my website reviewed was an 8-bit board, and therefore not so capable of doing nice engravings with that 15-watt laser. Now, then I got to the Orter machines. They were 32-bit boards and they had a lot more steps. They could have 4096 steps. They don't do that. They limited themselves to 1000 steps. But the levels, there are 1000 levels of hardness in the light, and therefore there is much more grayscales possible with a 32-bit board. Now the second thing is that if that machine, we were talking round numbers, so imagine that the machine is 10 watts, and you can divide that in 10 pieces, because the motherboard is capable of dividing it in 10 pieces. Then every piece would be 1 watt. Now imagine that you're going to power up that laser, and you're going to a 100-watt laser. So from 10 watts to 100 watts. Then every step would be a 10 watt step. Therefore, if you don't increase the number of levels in between it, and this is what is happening if you're comparing the same type of motherboard with stronger lasers, then by having a stronger laser with more output power, will make the steps bigger, and therefore the possibilities of engraving grayscales smaller. Because from one step to another step is from light gray to very dark gray. And this is why the lower wattage machines are better for grayscale engraving than the higher wattage machines. And this is just simply because the steps are too wide from each other. And this is why the diode lasers that we have really benefit from a 32-bit motherboard. And this is why the Nature 8-bit machine that I reviewed didn't get a high rating. It has nothing to do with the laser, because the laser of the Nature is very, very nice. I think it's even a better laser than the laser that Orter uses. However, the machine is not capable of making enough divisions of that laser, and therefore it doesn't produce very nice grayscale images. How to start learning 3D printing from zero knowledge. Hi Rafael. Well, from zero knowledge there is a lot of information on YouTube. If you are really to start from zero, from nothing, start with an easy machine that is covered by a lot of people, like the Ender 3, or like the artillery Sidewinder, or how's that other machine called? One of the artillery machines. Because then there is a lot of information that you can get from YouTube. Second thing, make sure that you start understanding the basics of slicing. When you get a 3D file, whether you download it from the internet, whether you create something yourself, but when you get a 3D file, then it has to be sliced in smaller pieces, and those pieces, those slices, is what your printer is going to print. And there are a lot of settings that you can do in your slicer software to make it look very good or very, very bad. And therefore it's really a good thing to invest time in getting to know your slicer. And I think the best slicer of this moment is Cura, because Cura is a very widespread slicer, which is really good, and I think that's the best thing you can start with now, because it's free and because there is tons of information on YouTube to get starting with that slicer. And then the last thing is do a lot of 3D printing. Invest time and yeah, go start printing. Start with printing that Banshee. All the people on YouTube seem to hate the Banshee, but this is by the way, a 3D printing question. All the people on YouTube seem to hate the Banshee, but really it's a very nice print to make, because the 3D Banshee is something of which you can learn a lot. So yeah, invest time in printing that part. And maybe if you start with that, don't go printing 10 different things, but keep on that Banshee and see if you can increase your skills by printing it 5 or 6 times, and every time making some better settings to make a better print. I think this is the best thing to do when you have zero knowledge and you want to start learning 3D printing. And be prepared of some horrible disaster prints. I've made multiple of them. I think I've made the first 2 or 3 months 10 good prints and 100 prints that went wrong. But that doesn't matter, because you learn a lot from your good prints, but you learn even more from all your bad prints. Everything okay on this end? Great, I love that. How fast does Gearbest ship for you? I ordered the order 4 weeks ago and it's not shipped yet. Yeah, this is the thing. When I get my packages, normally they ask me if I'm willing to review something. Then I receive this for free. And then I receive it very, very fast, normally. Now for the latest 3D printer that I received, the order, this wasn't the case. I waited, I think 3 months, something like that, before I received it. And this is both Corona related and yeah, they had to make the machine and therefore yeah, it wasn't finished yet. So it took a very long time for the order to get to here. I know that sometimes people are waiting 4 to 6 weeks for their package to arrive, and it depends really from which warehouse you order it. Most of the time what I do is when I see a product on Gearbest, but I do this also on AliExpress and Banggood and all those Chinese sites. When I order a product that I buy myself, then I first take a look at the reviews, and most of the time in the reviews people are telling how quickly they received it. And then sometimes you see that from one warehouse it takes 5 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever, and from another warehouse people are very happy with it because they received it in a week. And most of the times you can get this information from the reviews that is on the product page. So therefore I go sometimes, not even in Europe. I live in the Netherlands. Then I see that, for example, there is a warehouse in Spain that has the product in stock. But a lot of people are complaining because it takes 5 weeks for a product to arrive. And then I see that another warehouse in China can give you the same product in a week time. Well, I go to the China warehouse then with the thing that I have to invest in customs money, because I have to import it and then I have to pay the customs. But I receive it way faster. So depending on the price of the product, I sometimes do this. So yeah, sometimes people have to wait long. I know that, and it's something which I don't like it, but yeah, it's the bad thing of buying something overseas. So sorry. Have you experimented with different lenses? Yes, I am at this moment, and I'm also going to make a video on it. experimenting with a G2, a G3 and a G8 lens. And I have to say that the G8 lens on paper should be the best, but I didn't manage to focus it yet. So I've ordered a new G8 lens just because I wasn't able to focus the G8 lens that I got, and I hope the new G8 lens will be better. So yes, I'm experimenting with other lenses, and I heard very good things about the G8 lenses. I have to say that the G2 lens is really horrible. Don't try it. I managed to focus it, but the in-focus dot is so large that you lose a lot of power. Do I have a laser on the XYZ printer? No. In fact, I don't have an XYZ printer anymore. I started out my channel with the XYZ printing DaVinci Pro printer. And at a certain time I had 4 of them. Then I really got in trouble with the company. They wanted me to remove all my videos. They threatened me to with lawyers, and it was a horrible situation. But then I decided not to do anything with XYZ printing anymore. I refused to remove my videos, and in the end they didn't come up with their lawyers. But yeah, I don't do anything with XYZ printing anymore. And well, if you watch the rest of the people in the 3D printing community, they almost all do not work with XYZ printing anymore because of this, because of the same reason. Great clarification, thanks for your help. Well, you're welcome. That's what this stream was for. Do you have an SLA printer yet? I'm thinking about getting one, but I'm not sure if there's a good place for it. I heard they smell and need good ventilation. That's exactly the reason why I haven't been promoting them on my channel. Yes, I do have 2 SLA printers. I have one which is defective. I haven't been able to use it. This is the Anycubic. The other one is the Elegoo Mars, and it works flawless. It works very, very good. But I have to say, I don't like the mess, and I don't like the dangers that come with SLA printers. So yes, I use them because they make very nice and very clean prints. Yet I don't want to promote them because of the dangers that come with these printers. I know someone in person that got very, very sick of touching resin, and therefore I don't want to be the person that the person that is telling you, well, go for a resin printer and start playing with it, because if you do something wrong, you can get very sick from it. I also know a lot of examples of people who work with SLA printers, who touch resin, who even drop it on their hands, etc., and don't have any problem with it. But I just don't want to be that person that is advising to others to work with SLA printers and resin printers, as they are pretty dangerous. And I just don't like the mess they create. But I have to say, the Elegoo Mars printer that I have is a very, very capable, very good printer. And the Anycubic should also be a very good printer. But mine came with a defective display. Then I bought another display for it, and that came in broke. So it was broken, and therefore I now have 2 defective displays, and I never was able to use the Anycubic. Just a heads up, Orto just released a new patch for the Obsidian to fix the Z-axis offset. I wish I had downloaded it before destroying my build plate. Okay, well, I haven't been able to work with my Obsidian printer. Maybe you have seen the videos on my channel. I received the Obsidian very early, but the package that I received was completely damaged. So damaged that I wasn't able to get it together. My complete bottom of the machine was having a torque issue, so it was not flat. Then some of the extrusions were not straight anymore. Therefore, it was impossible to assemble that machine. I'm already making progress in repairing it because I made a new bottom plate for it, and I just bought some extrusions which I can make that printer. The only thing is that I still have to find that cable, that flat cable, to repair the X-axis gantry. I'll grab the part and then you can see what I mean. So here we have the Obsidian X-axis gantry, and over here, I hope the camera will focus on it. Yep. Here you can see that flat cable that came loose. And this was because this whole board was shifted under an angle. And this flat cable is a 22 pin cable with a 1.25 pitch. And this is a very hard to get cable. So I want to have a 50 centimeter cable, 22 pins with a 1.25 pitch. It's very difficult to get. And I tried to contact Orter about this. They're sending me a complete new machine so I can review a fully working machine after I received it. But I don't want to throw this machine away because it's too nice to throw away. So I want to repair it, but I don't think I'm able to get this cable. And then maybe I will need to make a new cable tree that will go on maybe a cable that works like this, like in other printers. So I'll have to see how I'm going to fix this. But this is a very nice printer for sure, because it's built like a tank, and I'm sure this is going to be a very capable printer. Now for the Z-axis problem, I haven't heard from it before. I now see that there is an update for it. I will have to install it when I receive the printer. But what happened? Because was it crashing into the bed, or what was the problem that happened? Thanks for the input, much appreciated. Well, you're welcome. Where did you buy your lens from? And when do you think you could do a video on them? Well, I bought the lenses on, I don't think I've got it here, Laserland in America. Have to find if I can see it here. The Laserland store. I think I will be able to pull up that screen. Here it is. This is the Laserland store, and they sell all kind of optical lenses. So here you can buy these these lenses. Am I getting back again? Yes, I am. Great. So yeah, Laserland is the place where you can buy those lenses for your Orter lasers. Now I lost the chat. There it is again. And when I'm yeah, when will I do a review on them? As soon as possible. I first want to receive a good G8 lens, because I think the G8 lens I got was damaged. So therefore I bought another G8 lens, and well, if I get better results than with the original lenses, then I will make a video about it. If I'm not getting better results, then I think I will just mention that I tried it in one of my other upcoming videos, but not make a special video about it. And so far I haven't been able to get a better laser than the one provided with the machines. But I hear very good things of the G8 lenses, so this is something I want to try out. My Obsidian came damaged as well, not really as badly as yours. I enjoyed finding the soccer box video. Yeah, well, you really, it was a shame that the box was already removed by my wife. Otherwise I would have made a picture about it. It's really, the box was almost completely torn in two. Some parts were falling out of the box, and well, they really managed to damage almost everything on that printer. So I don't know what happened, but really the UPS guys must have done something terrible to it. Very, very, very bad. But it's a bad thing to hear that your came damaged as well, because this means that although I thought that the packaging was good, but if more people are experiencing damaged printers when they arrive, then there must be something wrong with their packaging. So if more people have this problem, then I would like to make them aware of it. After all, they asked me to review the machine. And if more people complain about the same problem, then I think I'm the person to let them know. Auto bed leveling sensor would not define the z-axis level properly and would set the z below the z-axis, which is on the bed, causing it to try to force itself 2 mm below the lowest point on the bed. Okay. Now this can be two things. This can be a software setting, which is really fault. This can also mean you have to set the height of this sensor. And what I found out is that they don't mention it in their instructions, but actually this sensor is not tightened, as you can maybe see. When you receive the thing, it's loose. And you can move it up and move it down. And this is something I know. I made a few printers like the Core XY printers, the Hypercubes, etc. And I use the same sensors. And sometimes they do use 5-volt sensors, but they only provide 3.3 volts to them. And then these sensors will give wrong readouts. And then you have to get the sensor lower or higher to work properly. I don't know, because I haven't tried this one yet, how this one works, but this can be a problem with this sensor. It can also be that they made a wrong setting in the firmware of the printer, and that when you have new firmware or new settings in that firmware for the sensor, then it will be better. But setting the correct height of a sensor is a very important thing if you want to work with a reliable sensor. Basically etching the nozzle into the plate. Well, that's really a shame, because this is a plate which can be very good as long as you don't scratch it. I think I will maybe replace my plates for something different in the end. Of course not for the review that I'm going to make about it, but I will replace them in the end for something different. I think that the magnetic plates will be the thing which I will end up with, but I have to see that. Thank you. Found your channel today and subscribed. Excellent, clear reviews and advice. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I love to hear things like that. Hi Charlie, how you doing? And then the packaging seemed good just when the box was crushed by the shipping company, but leveling knobs and springs were forced down, pushing through the 4 corner points through the build sticker. Just a moment. Ta-da! What you are describing right now is exactly this problem, which I got here, 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 and here. And if this happens to more people, then I think the layering between the base of the printer and the things that are pretty heavy like this that are on top of it is just not thick enough, it's just not rigid enough to support the weight of both the parts. And then I think this is something which has to be mentioned to order because then they can make better shipping material. If this happens to multiple people, then this really is a problem, and this problem should be mentioned. Any suggestions for laser engraved metal? Yes, don't do it unless you got a very powerful laser. It's very difficult to engrave metal. For example, I made a few videos about engraving dog tags. And I have been trying this dog tag lately, and it's almost impossible to engrave, with a very simple reason. This is silver and it doesn't have any coating on it. I also have some purple, blue, green and red anodized versions of this, and they engrave very easy, but this is because you're not engraving the metal, you're engraving the anodization which is on the metal, and this is easy to burn away with your laser, but you won't burn into that metal. And this is something that has to do with the 405 nanometers wavelength of this type of lasers. So you will for sure need CO2 lasers which have another wavelength to be able to cut into metal. There is a new laser coming up, and I'm trying to get my hands on one of these for install on one of my machines. That is a 40 watt laser, 520 nanometers. It's also a diode laser. I think it's a very dangerous machine because of its wavelength. It will be a very dangerous machine for people to use in an open frame. I also think that these are very dangerous lasers, but this wavelength especially will be very dangerous, but it will be capable of engraving metal because of that wavelength. And I'm trying to get my hands on one of those lasers, and I will try and see if that works, because then it must be easy to engrave on these types of shiny metals as well as stainless steel, etc. But those are really extremely dangerous, because not only are the wattages very high, but also the reflections will be very sharp. If you get a reflection which is out of focus, there is really no problem. The reflection that is out of focus coming from this when using a 15 or 20 watt laser is a very wide beam. So it will hurt you, but it won't damage you. The chances are very, very little. They are there, and therefore I always advise to wear proper glasses. But the chances are very, very little because you're not in focus. And the focus beam of the laser is about this high. And everything which is further down or reflected further away is not in focus. Yet with that other type of laser, the reflection can be extremely sharp, therefore in focus, therefore extremely dangerous. I really don't hope that people who are inexperienced with lasers will be able to get their hands on those machines, because I'm sure that people will get hurt. Same thing. Oh goodness, that's how mine looks. Well, yeah, I think this really is a problem of the packing then, because if yours does the same problems as mine, then yeah, there must be something wrong with the packaging, and then I have to let Arthur know, because they asked me to do the review. I must let them know that there is something wrong with their packaging and that more people have the same problem. In fact, could you make me a photograph of your print bed and send it to me? You can do that on info@3d-printcreator.com. And if you can send me that photograph and I can show them your bed and my bed, well, it will make the case even stronger to show them that there is something wrong. I've got to go now, but thanks. Scott, I'll see you later. I hope you're subscribed to the channel, and we will talk more often. Metal-like iPhone not supported, I know, but after the program my iPhone was still blank. Hey, Metal-like an iPhone not supported, I know, but after the program my phone was still... So yeah, so you tried to engrave on the metal of the iPhone, which is very reflective, and which has the same problem this thing has. I also tried to engrave my phone, which has a glass backing, and it also didn't work because it was way too reflective. So those things are very difficult with 405 nanometer lasers, and especially with the low power that we have. We might think that these powers are high, but in fact for a laser they are very low. The lasers I work on some shops where I work, they got 100 watt CO2 laser, and this is the real output power of the lamp. Those are the lasers that can do things like this. Will do. Hopefully it will help the case. Well, thanks a lot, because it would really help if I can send Arthur the pictures and show them that there is something wrong with their packaging. I know from multiple examples that I have, but also that I heard from other people, that Arthur is a company that is extremely willing to help people. I've had it with a problem with my laser boards. I've got two machines in which this board was damaged. This is the control board of the 15 watt smaller machine. I've got one of myself and one of a friend of mine who both got damaged. We both asked Arthur what to do about it, and if we would be able to get a replacement. And in both cases they gave it completely for free. In one case you could say they know that I'm a YouTuber and therefore maybe influencing people, but this was absolutely not the case for my neighbor. And well, he also received his board for free. So yeah, the service of Orter is really outstanding, and they're very well willing to listen to people when you come with a solution for something they didn't think of. I've seen that now for multiple times. So yeah, it's a company that I really like because of that. Any suggestions for good engraving software, macOS? Today I used my XYZ engraver software, which is very limited. Well, does this show up? Yes, it shows up. Great. Where is the mouse? Where is the mouse? This is the problem when you work with multiple computers. Here it is. So this software is, how is it called? How is it called? It is Lightburn. And I have to say that Lightburn software, really, this is great software. I don't know, however, if Lightburn will be running on a Mac. I'm not really a Mac user. I do have a MacBook. Not working a lot with it. In fact, I bought a separate machine. There is also a video about that. I bought a $120 machine, I think it was, in China, which has Windows on it already when you buy it for $120. Especially to use with my lasers, because I want my lasers to be in the shed, and I want to be able to work with them over there. So that is how I work. I bought that separate machine for it. And Lightburn is very, very capable software which can do everything. I don't have seen things that were not possible with Lightburn. So I really love that a lot. I have to go back to this one. Yeah. So yeah, Lightburn is the software that I really recommend to everyone. Yet I don't know if Lightburn is there for Mac users as well. Yeah, and this is the last question. And this is also where I see that I'm more than an hour in, I think. Yep, it's about an hour. So I think I will end up the stream here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for going to send me these pictures of that bed of the Orter, because it will really help me when reviewing that machine, but also when communicating with Orter about the problems they have with their packaging. And this is something which is really not allowed to happen, and which is very easy to avoid, because just unscrew the screws of that bed and everything is okay. So I will for sure mention that to them. I will see you guys later. Thanks for being here, and see you guys later. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. Now here I can stop the stream. Bye everyone.